Hello everyone and welcome. I am Rusher Q, and this is my first video back in a while. I'm going to be doing YouTube over Twitch for the time being, but hey, I'm back. What I wanted to do with my first video back was kind of talk with everyone briefly about an overview of the new Stellaris Federation's update, which is coming out soon. And I say soon because with all of the things that's going on right now, I know that Paradox closed their offices, so I haven't heard if that will affect the release of Federations. I don't think it will, but I mean, we don't know for sure. So yeah, I wanted to talk about Stellaris Federations kind of, they had a feature stream that came out on February 28th, so a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to cover kind of what my impressions were with that and just some basic things. Mostly I wanted to cover the new Federation types, not in great detail, just kind of an overview, and the new origins, which that's probably the biggest thing that I'm excited for. So we're just going to cover kind of those, and yeah, we'll get into it. The biggest changes that they have coming with the new update is that you'll have a galactic community, which I'm not going to cover. I can cover it in more detail, but I'd rather cover it on an actual stream where I'm trying out the content. New federations will be coming out with that, so they have 5 new federation types that you'll be able to be a part of if you'd like, or that you might have to destroy if you prefer to do that path as well. You'll have an origin. There are a ton of origins. There's like 15, I think. So we'll cover each of those and kind of some of the benefits and downsides to each of those. You'll be able to also have an envoy. The way the envoy system, at least it says here, is that it'll be similar to EU4. If you haven't played Paradox games in EU4, you can send your envoy. Basically, it's an agent that you can send to other places and kind of have an impact on that area. And that's what they're saying. You'll be able to send an envoy to an area and either improve or harm relationships or improve your standing with the galactic community. You'll be able to change diplomatic stances. And one of the biggest changes that they did is that they claim that they've made a lot of significant improvements in late game's performance. I know that in PDXCon in 2019, they talked a lot about like some of the problems that they had with the game. If you haven't played a super late game, I'll kind of give you an idea. The issue is that as you continue playing the game just gets so laggy and that it just slows down to a crawl. So usually in the beginning, the days are just flying by if you're on fastest. But as it goes on, it just slows down more and more and more. So supposedly they've claimed that there's some significant improvements, is what it says here, to the late game performance. And I'll cover that in my initial impressions of Federations once it comes out. All right, so I just wanted to kind of cover some of the basic ideas that they have here. So they've completely reworked Federation. So the way it works now is there's a Federation, you join, and there's not much change from that. It's, everybody kind of works together. There's not too many customization options, so those have been completely redone. Like I said, there's 5 that you can choose from. The Galactic Community, which will be, people will be able to propose different resolutions to change kind of the laws and whatnot of that area. Origins, which is a new way to customize empires, which we're going to cover in more detail probably with this. And then, of course, the Juggernaut, the Mega Shipyard, both of which will be really cool. So yeah, let's kind of jump into the so I watched the Stellaris feature stream video. There will be a pop-up that appears now, which will have a link to it if you want to watch it. I'll also have a link in the description below. I took screenshots from this, and I'll cover some of the ideas that they have in this for Origins and for Federation types, because those are probably the biggest changes, because they are things that are already in the game that are changing versus new content. And I feel like for veteran players and even for new players, if you're kind of starting to get a whole handle in the game, this is going to kind of trip you up. So we're going to cover Origins first. The first Origin was Prosperous Unification. They said that this is going to be the default Origin. And so what happens is this will come with the base game. So if you don't have any of the expansions, you will be able to get this. What it does is it gives you something, but it doesn't give you a whole lot. Basically, you just start with 4 additional pops and 2 additional districts on your home planet. So, not anything crazy. If you're looking for something that's, just kind of want to play the old game, you're not really interested in the new Origin system, and you just kind of want to play the game regularly, this is the choice for you. Again, I apologize for the quality of some of these screenshots, because there's a box that's there. You can see it here. I got it directly from the stream. Mechanist is the next one. So, one of the most important things that I picked up from this is that the current civics that you have for like Mechanist or Lifesed, they're gone. Those civics don't exist in the game anymore. And so what will happen is you'll pick an Origin, and then you'll still be able to pick your civics. So it sounds like they've taken the civics and pulled them out and given you these Origins that you can choose. This is exactly the same as Mechanist works now. So you start with 8 robot populations, and you get a bonus of 5% off your robot upkeep. Really nice if you want to get a big pop jump at the beginning. Mechanist is one of my favorites, and it's really good. Syncretic Evolution, again, one of the ones that they have. You get 2 populations, or 2 species that you get to build in the beginning, and you start with 12 pops of another species, which is like a subservient species. So yeah, there's no change there, or no new content. Next is Lifesed. That's where you start with a Gaia world, and it has several rare planetary features. Lifesed is tough because your people start with the Gaia world preference, which sucks. Because they find all other planets undesirable. So I shouldn't say it sucks. It's tough. It's tough for sure. But it's also cool because it if you want that challenge, it's definitely there. If you've never done a Lifesed run, I definitely suggest it. Postapocalyptic. Same thing as that's the Tomb World Survivor start, or the civic that they had before. Basically, your home planet's a tomb world. You gain plus 70% tomb world habitability. This is actually a pretty good one because your people will have a preference for whatever planet you choose, and they can live on tomb worlds. So they can live on both, which is pretty nice. So that is one of the Origins as well. Remnants. So Remnants is one of the newer ones that they're adding. Basically, the way they made it sound was that your empire was once a great empire and then fell, and then now you're trying to become great again. And so your home world is a relic world. And you'll have different quests that you'll be able to do throughout the course of the game to discover your lost heritage, get bonuses. They were kind of vague on exactly what it would be, but you'll be able to get a lot from that. There's also the Shattered Ring. This one I'm super excited for. So you get to start with your homeworld being a ring world that is destroyed. So you have, there's 4 sections on a ring world, and 3 of them will be destroyed. And so what you'll be able to do is, throughout time, reactivate the whole ring. So it's pretty cool. start, and I think it's going to be a one that gets played a lot because a lot of people have asked for this. They said that in the stream too, so you just be like, oh, he's saying what they say. But no, this is also something I've been asking for. I really think that this is going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see how it changes gameplay. One thing that is important with this, though, is I'm interested to see how they deal with the initial resources that you get. So if you know when you play, you have initial resources that spawn in your home system. The problem is when you do a ring world, there's no other systems there, so you'll probably have some kind of penalty because you won't have moons, or you'll have a slight negative in the beginning because you'll have less of those resources coming in, at least until you start expanding. Void Dwellers is another one that's really interesting. So you start with your main planet being shattered, destroyed in some way, and you get 3 orbital habitats. And it says that you get the technology to build more, so you must start already with the ability to build habitats. Habitats are kind of expensive to build, so I'm interested to see how exactly that works. Whether it will be the same cost as habitats are. So I think it will be definitely interesting to see. Members of your species live on habitats and produce 15% more there. And one thing that they had said was that there would be big penalties. They made it sound like they were pretty bad if you try to live on a normal planet. So if they said this one would be a little more challenging, but I feel like if you're used to working with habitats because they're not normally the size of planets, and kind of getting used to that, I think that'll offset it some. Another one that I'm really excited about is the Scion. So the Scion is where you start as a vassal of a fallen empire. And so, as you may know, fallen empires in the game are really, really powerful AI characters that have very little that they do. They're really powerful, and you can irritate them. Sometimes there's an event where some interesting things happen. Not to ruin anything. Where in the middle of the game, some interesting things can happen. But basically, what you do is there is a fallen empire that you're the vassal of, and you are trying to help guide them and also bring people into the fold of being under that. Probably the thing that I thought was most interesting about this is that typically as a vassal, if you start, so they say a vassal, but unless and I haven't heard anything about this, but unless they drastically change the way the vassal system works, this actually means that you'll start as a protectorate, because you have to have a certain percentage of the technology that they have in order to be a vassal. And fallen empires are really powerful, so you'll probably start as a protectorate first, that then can move to being a vassal. And the other thing, unless they've drastically changed that system, it's going to be really interesting because, you gain technology quicker when you're a vassal or a protectorate of another empire. So I wonder if they didn't specifically say anything about this in the video, but I wonder if they've cut back on that to some degree. Probably have, because that would be massively powerful. If you were doing competitive multiplayer, you would just be so powerful. Another one. They said that this one was more basic. They also said that this one would come with the standard game. So if you don't have the expansion or any of the expansions, you'll still get Galactic Doorstep. Galactic Doorstep is where you start with a gateway in your home system. So you'll have your planet, and then you'll have a gateway around there. They also said that this would be powerful in competitive multiplayer, and I think I was originally trying to think why, but it kind of came to me that one of the things that they pointed out is that you will be able to reactivate it over the course of the game. So probably before the end of a major period where you would normally learn to use a, because it's usually like 3/4 of the way through the game, or like a little after halfway through the game, you'll learn the ability to use the gateways. But it appears that you might be able to use them sooner with this. So that could be really nice if you're looking for like just kind of a standard thing and you want just something kind of cool to mess with. Could be really interesting and good for getting around for those. But keep in mind that, remember that the gateways are different than the wormholes. You can't use a gateway if somebody has closed, if let's say the gateway's in their system and they have closed borders, you can't use it. Whereas a wormhole, you can't stop. So just something to keep in mind. Tree of Life. So if you like playing as a hive mind, which I do, I like playing as everything in this game, but hive minds are really cool. Hive mind, when they first talked about it, I was like, what? So Tree of Life, you'll get massive benefits because you'll have this Tree of Life on your home system, and what will happen is as you as you expand out to other planets, each of those planets will get a Tree of Life sapling, so they'll get smaller bonuses. But what happens is if your home planet gets taken over, or if it gets blown up by like a world shatter, then you'll get huge penalties because that like core of your hive mind has been destroyed. So could be really interesting, and could also really suck if you get like one of the endings, the contingency, because your home planet could blow up. So that's just something interesting. Something else that I was really kind of excited to see was this one, On the Shoulders of Giants. So it sounded to me when they were talking in the video that this would sort of be like the finding the precursor empire. So when you start the game, typically you'll get a quest or a mission to find out the history of a precursor empire. And that's kind of what this sounded like, because it said you start with an archaeological site related to a mysterious benefactor in your home system. But based on the wording here, what they said made it sound like it would be a precursor empire. But based on the wording here, I think it's going to be something in addition to that, because it says a mysterious benefactor in your home system. So there's someone or something that's trying to help you. And I think this one is probably the most mysterious out of all of them, and I'm really excited to see where they go with this. So this is one I'll be trying out early for sure. Calamitous Birth. So Calamitous Birth is for the Lithoid pack. So if you have the Lithoid expansion pack, it's not an expansion pack, it's a species pack. If you have that, then you can get this. I thought Calamitous Birth was really cool, so if you like Lithoids, this one will be nice, because you'll be able to... So you start with a crater on your home planet, and it'll give you additional districts and mining districts, and then you'll be able to create meteorite colony ships, which you can then shoot at another planet to colonize them, which is super funny. Like just think about like shooting a giant meteorite out there and taking over the planet. They did say it would lower. It says it causes damage, but in the video they said that it would lower habitability of the planet, so you'll lose some habitability, but you'll get some bonuses for mining and whatnot. So that'll be really cool to see in action, and if you like Lithoids, that'll definitely be awesome. If you don't have the Lithoid expansion, or if you don't know what they are a mineral race where you get bonuses to a certain type of mineral or to others, and you play as like a mineral race, so you get some, like you could get rare crystals and all of those things. So pretty cool. Resource consolidation. So those of you that are my machine race friends, you'll like this. So a machine intelligence consolidated all of the resources to the capital world, covering it entirely with machinery. You'll be able to do this for all of them unless you have Rogue Servitor. So Rogue Servitor is where the robots have taken over and like protect the humans or whatever species is on that planet to they get bonuses from them and all of that, kind of like, well, no, not really like the Matrix, because that's the other ones, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. Rogue Servitors I like. I just think they're really cool. A lot of people don't, but I think it's really interesting, and I could cover that in another video. But they're pretty cool. This you start with a machine world though, and in general, that seems really powerful if you're a machine race. They did say that you would start with no other bonuses in the system, so it sounds like you won't have any minerals or energy credits or anything like that in your system. All of the resources are consolidated on your planet. So that's a kind of a trade-off, but it's nice because you'll start with a machine world. So yeah, if you like machine races, this is probably the one for you. So then we get into, there's two different origins that are like related to a federation. So common ground, basically you start in a federation. So you start already in a federation, and you're kind of on par with everybody else. The thing that I found interesting about this is that they say any guaranteed habitable worlds near your planet will be colonized by these other races. So you could end up in a bad position depending on like the hyperlane density that you have. But I think it'll be cool because you'll start already with at least two other members that will be friendly to you. They said they won't be exactly the same civic, but they will be similar, and similar enough is good enough. There's also the Hegemon. The Hegemon, you'll start as a Hegemony, and the Hegemony supports one more powerful person in the Federation, and the other people are more subservient to it. Pretty interesting because, I mean, if you're looking for like a boost and you kind of want some other federations to help you out, this would be really, really interesting. And then you could even potentially mix this with like feudal, so that you have like a feudal thing, and then you have these other like partner states. So it doesn't sound like you'll be able to build the two additional members. Same with Hegemon and with Common Ground. It sounds like they're going to be random, so you won't be able to pick their ethics or any of that. And both of these, you start with Federation traditions unlocked. So that means that you will have, I wonder how that'll work, because that would potentially mean that you would start with a penalty, or not a penalty, but like with some of those traits unlocked. It'll be interesting to see how they work that in. This one I thought was really cool. So when they first came out with this in PDXCon, they said that with Doomsday, your planet would be destroyed within 65 years. But they didn't say why, but they said they made it harder. So it's 35 to 45 years after the game starts. So you won't know exactly when it'll be, but it'll be pretty cool because you'll have to basically move everybody off your planet because it's about to go. And I think it'll be cool because I know a lot of times when I play, very rarely do I ever change my capital. and have to deal with that. And it'll be interesting to start a challenging mode of play where, you know, your planet, because usually your first planet gets really powerful, and that's kind of your heavy hitter for a while. So it'll be interesting to do that. Definitely, if you're looking for a more challenging mode, this is one I'll be doing for sure. So yeah. One of the other ones I'm really excited about is Lost Colony. So kind of like the Federation of Man and the Galactic Nations of Earth, or the Nations of Earth. There's a colony ship that's sent out, and there is an advanced species somewhere in the galaxy. Now, it says it's an advanced empire, which means that it'll get the advanced AI start, and that'll be somewhere else in the galaxy. And so what will happen is you'll be able to, play through the game and then eventually run into that other race. Now, it says it spawns somewhere in the galaxy, so I expect that some people will have it spawn as the next one over, which I guess makes sense, or in some cases, they'll be on the other side of the galaxy, which, I mean, if you went through a wormhole or something, but that's not important. So yeah, that's, it'll be interesting to see how that'll work. All right, so kind of changing gears here. Those are all of the origins, and we'll go back. I'm kind of excited about all of these and the implications that they have. I think that it's going to add good content overall to the game, and freeing up some of those civic slots are going to be really, really, really great for people who have had to burn those up in order to kind of get some of the other ones. So let's talk about the 5 Federation types that they're adding. So they have Galactic Union, Martial Alliance, Trade Union, Hegemony, or Trade League, Hegemony, and I'm going from memory, and this is probably going to be an awful video because, so many people have their videos that sound so great, but it is what it is. So yeah, you'll have those. They said that the Galactic Union is going to be more of a kind of standard play. So if you're used to the way Federations work now, like currently pre-Federations expansion, then that'll be more or less how they act. They did say that each Federation type will have Federation perks, and I watched the whole video, and some of them seem really interesting and powerful because your Federation will be able to level up. But I'm just not going to cover it for the purposes of this video. There's also the Martial Alliance, which will give you bonuses to ship and to ships and armies. You'll have the ability to have the largest army in the game, largest Federation fleet, and all of those. So if you're more of an aggressive player and you like to take over people by force, this is one that you'll definitely use. There's also the Trade League, which is, I feel like you'll use this a lot if you're a corporation, a megacorp. I feel like there's a lot of powerful things to it, such as one of the perks was like ship speed that you'll be able to get. So it'll be kind of cool to see how this works with, with a lot of the changes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Trade League, they said, would be if you really want to get like a lot of energy credits. So there'll be a lot of different things that allow you to convert things to energy credits, whether that be, excess profit or consumer goods and all that. The Hegemony. So the Hegemony is going to be really cool because once they join, they have to support the president, whoever that is. And basically the way that it works is that you can't leave unless the president's like, get out. So if you want a gameplay where you're kind of like a bully, or even where if you have, you know, other empires that are helping you, this is going to be really cool. There's the Research Cooperative. The Research Cooperative is nice because if you like the kind of tall gameplay, this is going to be right up your alley. So if you prefer tall gameplay, basically you'll go with this, and you'll go heavy into research. Some people do that, and they just focus on research. But this will really kind of help you out in that. And you'll have tons of bonuses to being able to research things and get different choices and learn from the other people in that federation. So that'll be nice. And that's it, really. I think there's a lot of awesome things that are coming from this update, and honestly, I'm gonna post a few videos about my initial reactions when I play the game and go kind of in depth on some strategy. I also plan to finish all of my introductory videos on how to play the game, and all of that. So yeah, this is the end. I don't have any intro or outro sounds yet, but eventually I'll be adding those. So if you like the video, like and subscribe, please. You can also join the Discord. I have links down below, and feel free to follow me on Twitch. I do that from time to time, and I'm always in the Discord chatting about Stellaris or other video games, but mostly 4X games. So yeah. Anyways, I'll be posting videos weekly. If you want to get updates for those, do subscribe. And if you don't, then don't, you know? Hey, I'm not going to twist anybody's arm, but ultimately, I hope you guys have a good day. Stay safe out there, especially with everything that's going on. And I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be coming out next week. Have a good one, guys.